What is up, all for one for beans? It's Gage here, and today I want to talk about a very powerful experience I had 2.5 weeks ago. That's when I had my seizure. Um, some of you guys might saw on the Facebook post. I also put it on Instagram. It was a couple of days after it happened. I needed some. I knew it was. I knew there was going to be a couple people reaching out, so I wanted to give myself a couple of days before that all happened. Um, but that experience is very life changing, and it changed my perspective. I'm able to give more overall view, kind of being fully recovered. My mind is fully there now, and I'm grateful to share this with you guys. And I hope you get a good perspective from it, or maybe it'll change how you look at life. It's all good. And that's one thing, unfortunately. Nowadays, like a lot of people, if you give perspective, you're like hated on for it. If they don't agree with it, if they strongly disagree with it, they will attack you. And unfortunately, that is kind of where social media has went, how we interact with each other. It's okay to have different opinions, guys. Not everyone's going to agree, and that's okay. And that's how we learn as people, and I think we need to kind of get back to like being okay with other people having opinions that you might not like or agree with. I was literally just having a conversation with one of my friends. He kind of agrees with the whole um, vaccine causes autism. Not all autism. There's some that are born, but he thinks that they're created also, which I disagree with. We had a discussion with it, but we didn't hate on each other like, hey, bro, that's fucked up, just shit like that. We both disagree on that part, but we're able to have a good conversation, learn a lot from each other. So it's always good to keep your mind open and not have blinders. Because that's basically what you have when you don't open your mind and you close it. You have blinders on. You're looking from a tunnel vision, and if you take that off, open your mind, it'll change your life. And you'll learn so much more than you would if you had blinders on and you learn only a quarter of what you would have done, what you would have learned if you open your mind. So that's kind of on the side story. I kind of got a little sidetracked, but yes, I think having opinions and perspectives is very different. I think it's very important, and not attacking people for their perspectives. Um, but okay, so this story starts at my friend's place where we had a couple of tequila shots, we're drinking seltzers, we had like a little family dinner. Me, my brother, and my friend. And actually, it doesn't matter really. I just had fish and rice and stuff like that. I didn't drink much water, which, looking in hindsight, I should have, for sure. So we went to this bar. We're playing some pool. We didn't end up doing it because it was just packed. So when I went inside, and I knew the difference between anxiety and I can't quite explain this. My body, like it felt like goosebumps on my back, like something felt off as soon as I went inside. And there's a lot going on. There's like freaking 10 people at the pool table. There's a lot of people at the bar. There's a lot going on, and I found my body kind of freezing up. And it seems like my brain's trying to process all this information and all the lights, the music, the people, and my brain's like starting to like get very overwhelmed. And my friend sees this after like a couple minutes, and we go outside, and it's me, my brother, and my friend, and we're just sitting down talking. I'm talking to my brother, listening to him, and his face starts to distort a little bit, and it feels like it looks like it's getting further and further and further. And I'm breathing, doing some breath work, just doing like it's life is meditation. So that's the sometimes the best thing you can do for yourself. So I was just trying to breathe, get myself calmed down. I was getting a little frustrated because it wasn't really working, which usually and that's how I could tell it wasn't anxiety. Anxiety, I can calm it down like that. Like I've got a pretty good grip on that, and this wouldn't stop. It just kept getting further, and then before I knew it, I was out. And that's when I had my seizure. And I wasn't on Earth. I was in my body. I call it the void, between life and death. And there was like 1,000 TV screens, and each one was a little bit of a moment of the day. And I was just stuck on this one moment. Talked to my brother, where I couldn't control how my body was reacting and from it shutting down. And I felt so frustrated. I'm like, man, I should be able to control this. And I was just stuck in that moment over and over and over, and I just couldn't stop myself from like dissecting all of it. And I was just lost. I wasn't conscious or present. And I heard a voice, Gage, you're not in that moment anymore. And guys, I know that voice from anywhere. It was Ram Doss. It was his exact voice. Well, I listened to it. My brothers played him a lot. I listened a little bit, but I haven't got too deep into his story or his teachings. But I knew it was him. I would know his voice from anywhere. And it's the first experience I ever had, like feeling someone's presence, communicating with them. And I was present. I was like, I'm not there anymore. It was just a moment. And it wasn't exactly me. Like, I was me, but not Gage. I was, because in my perspective, we're souls. That's a fact that we do have souls, but we are the soul. It's not, soul isn't something we possess. It is something that we are. And I was just a soul. And I was looking at these moments of mine. When I was looking at it, I was Gage, but when I was present, it's like I kind of got away from that last bit of Gage. And I was just, everything that I have experienced with my lives, everything like that. And Ram Dass is like, regardless of what happens, you're going to be okay. And I had two choices, And Ram Dass, he's Gage. You get, like, if you choose either to move on to another life or the afterlife, or you choose to go back. And I started to hear my brother's voice, and I knew regardless I was going to be okay. If I died or my body died, I was going to be okay. But there was something calling me. My brother's voice, but also something deep, something else. I couldn't quite explain it. The only thing I did was felt it. But looking back now, I realize I came back because I'm still needed. I believe it's this community. I came back to help. And when I came back, the first thing I saw was my legs. I was on the ground. My brother was holding me. She tried to give me water, but I guess with me going back to my body, my body was still kind of going, like still coming together. So my body's operations was not really working that well. So it was very hard to drink water. It felt like my body was so full and I couldn't drink anymore. That's kind of how it felt. And these paramedics are asking me all kinds of questions. I'm like, you just get back, man. They're like, oh, where you live, this, that. I was like, guys, well, I didn't say that. My brother ended up saying, like, gave him a minute. Because, dude, and this guy's like, oh, hold your arm straight, because he's checking my pulse and everything like that, and my blood pressure. And I'm so glad for that. And what the paramedics, I didn't feel much compassion. And it wasn't until my brother said something that they started to become, okay, let's take it easy a little bit, And this is after my friend's like, oh yeah, man, he's autistic, so you might want to give him a minute, but they really comprehend that, They kind of saw it as just like a checklist and just another person, and sometimes you can get desensitized after helping so many people doing it for 10 years or whatever, how long you've done it. But you can't, it's important to get that love. No matter what you do, it doesn't matter what job you have. Because people, that's important. Giving love, and being compassionate with other people. Because It's what you would want to feel if you were in that situation. And I think sometimes we don't always put ourselves in other people's shoes. And we judge people but not really see it from their perspective. And that's why I learned a lot, with the treatment of autism, because they didn't really accommodate for what I needed in that moment. That is, that's another sign to bring more awareness to that, because unfortunately, that's a lot of people going through that, but don't have an older brother to say, "Hey, that's enough," calm down, or a friend, and that's important. It really is, and that's why I'm grateful for Awesomeness Mom and Team Awesomeness and people like Temple Grandin who are building bridges for awareness and acceptance for the autism community. And that night, I just kept pondering. That my brother and my friend tried to get me to lay down a little bit, which I did, but my mind just kept going. And I realized I could have died. And I kept thinking of the moments I had with people. And that would have been the last thing I said to them. And I said, "I love you," but I felt like they say full-heartedly. Because we say, "Oh, I love you. I love you. I'll talk to you tomorrow." Not really like, "I love you." And not saying it with your full heart. And being present with that person. And a lot of us do this. But that could be the last time you see that person. I don't think we take that because we're scared. Because that is a reality that we all don't like to face. But it can be freeing also when you're aware of it and accept it. And this taught me a lot of things, to be more intentional with how I when I say goodbye, say I love you, really being present, because it is important. Because any moment we could just be gone, or at least our bodies, in this life. And that's kind of what I experienced through that, because it was just 1 second I was gone, and that could have been the last thing. That could have been my last moment on the earth. Nearly was. And it took a lot to process. I just listened to Ram Dass that night and just listened to his talks, and it really hit what I needed to do and what I needed to hear at that moment. Sorry guys, it's just it hits me sometimes in talking about this experience. I am grateful to share this with you guys though, because it was a very powerful experience, and it changed how I see things. I came back for a reason. I don't have no time to fuck around no more. Excuse my language for the kids and children that might be watching this, but there is no fucking around with this. I came back for a reason, and there's no time to waste. And like before, I was half-assing a lot of things, and I wasn't just going, because I was going by my fear, like, oh, what if this and this and this? What if it's not good enough? I was like, you know what? Fuck it. Like, I'll get better then. I'll be bad, be good. I forget who I heard that from, but it's true. Be bad, be good. Even if it's bad, you'll improve on it. So it's just doing. That's why I paid $13 for a new design. I got a brand name, Autism Talk, and all these things, because you got to take action. And not everything's gonna be pretty, but for as far as we know, we have this life, and we got to do everything we can, live with no regrets. And my dream is to bring acceptance to the autism community, and I'll spend the rest of my life working on that. And I may never live to see it. I might not live long enough to see it, but at least I know it will happen someday. And that's the most important thing, because it's not about me. It's about us. It's not about one person. It's about this community, all of us together. You know, people like Team Awesomeness and Temple Grounded. These powerful figures of the autism community are building bridges for autism acceptance and awareness. And they're needed. Because I don't talk about my childhood a lot, but it was not the best in school. You know, there's a lot of judgment and prejudice, and there's a lot of people that even went worse than that had experiences, which some of you might relate to. Because, you know, I felt like I was treated less than, it felt like I was treated less than human. And I was like an alien because they couldn't understand me, you know, and people judge quickly, especially at a young age, you know, so that can be very detrimental to people with autism. Because I didn't fully understand it, like, young age, like, even at 14 or 15, I'm like, why are these guys, like, doing this? I just, like, I'm human like them, and I just want to, and from my perspective, it's like, I just want to be normal like them, and it brought me down every time, and before I knew it, I was in depression state, and it's a long story, but I'm grateful for all those experiences, because I'm able to relate to some of you guys in this community, and I can help others that are going through those struggles and those experiences. All of us are examples, and I believe every single one of us can be leaders. There is a lot of people struggling in this community, and the need is more and more people are getting diagnosed with autism. There's some that are born with, and there's some speculation with vaccines and all that type of stuff. I really don't care. All I know is there's more people getting diagnosed in this community, and they need help. They need resources. And I want to be one of those people that gets that to them. And through this podcast, I'm hoping to do that and build this dream more and connect with more people. And that's why people on my podcast, they bring a lot of perspectives, and I want their voices be heard, because they're doing everything they can for this community, and I want to give them that platform. So I'm grateful for that. It's not always about the destinations, but about the journey. You know, the mountaintop is great, but it's all about the journey. You're not thinking, oh yeah, the fucking mountaintop's great. You know, it's amazing, but you're just thinking about the journey that took you there. Because that is the most important part. Because there's going to be hard times. Some of you might be working 9 to 5 jobs. But guys, if it's live life with no regrets, because if it's something you really want, and you want to build a better life for yourself, fight for a dream, you'll do whatever it takes to accomplish that. Lose sleep. You know, because all of us have 24 hours in a day. There's no excuses, guys. And it's all about taking action. And if you want to build a better life for yourself, for your family, you know, you got to make that time and effort. And not to live in society's norms of like, hey, you know, this is just life. It's just life. No. You know, Martin Luther King could have said that, but he's like, no, this ain't cool. This ain't right. You know, he built a better future for other people. John Lennon could have said that, but you know what? He made a song about a world that could live without in true harmony and talk about depth into that. And song about peace and love. And these people didn't do it, be like, oh yeah, I'm just going to live how everyone else does. Is there, like, when I look around, I'm like, are these people happy? Are my fellow humans happy? No, they're not. You know, most of them aren't. You know, and there has to be a new way of doing things. And it just can't be a cycle all over and over and over. And it's like, no, and you got to take the action, and there's going to be sacrifice. Sacrifice isn't always a bad thing. Sometimes sacrifice can be good for something better for yourself and your family and your community. And guys, I couldn't tell you, like, there's times where I got down because I got not enough views and I don't get a lot of subscriptions and things like that. But you know what? I love what I'm doing, and I know I'm helping other people. You know, even if it's just one person, that makes everything worth it. and I'm living how I want to, not by how I was told to live. You know, it's the mountaintop will come, guys, but enjoy the journey while you're on it. Thank you guys for everything. I love you guys. You know, you are a wonderful community, and I just appreciate you just watching and all the support. Much love to you guys.